The road was darker than it should have been. The headlights of the car cut only a thin line through the fog, as if the night itself was swallowing the light hole. Mira gripped the steering wheel tighter. Her knuckles were white, her breath shallow. She wasn't supposed to be here, and yet, something had drawn her. The invitation had arrived 2 weeks ago. A thin envelope. No return address. No name. Inside was a single sheet of yellowed paper. The handwriting was elegant, old-fashioned, almost Victorian in its curves. It read, "The house remembers you. It is time to come home." At first, Mira laughed. She had never seen this handwriting, never been to any house. She tried to throw the letter away, but when she woke the next morning, it was on her nightstand, folded perfectly. Waiting. Now she was here. On a forgotten road in the countryside. A road her GPS swore didn't exist. Her car rattled as the gravel thickened. The fog clung like cobwebs against the windshield. And then, the house appeared. It was massive, 4 stories of rotting wood and broken windows. Its silhouette rose against the moon like a black skeleton. The iron gate stood open, rusted hinges bent back like broken wings. The house seemed alive, breathing. Watching her, Mira parked the car. The engine cut off with a cough. Silence followed, so heavy it made her ears ring. For a long time, she didn't move. Her hands were still on the wheel. Her heart raced like prey that already knew the predator was close. Then, she saw it. A light. One window on the 3rd floor flickered. Soft. Weak. As though someone had lit a candle. "Hello," she whispered, though no one could hear. Her voice trembled. The house gave no answer. But the door opened. On its own, Mira stepped out of the car. Her boots sank slightly into the damp earth. The cold cut through her jacket like needles. The air smelled of rot, of something that had been buried but not allowed to stay dead. She wanted to turn back, wanted to run, but her legs carried her forward. Closer. To the house. The porch groaned beneath her weight. The wood was slick with moss, swollen with years of rain and neglect. She reached for the door and froze. Inside. She heard whispering. It wasn't clear. Not words. Just a hiss, like dozens of voices speaking all at once from behind the walls. Her stomach turned cold. Her breath hitched. And yet, she stepped inside. The smell was stronger here. Dust, mildew, and something else beneath it. Something sharp. Metallic. Blood. The whispering grew louder. The door slammed shut behind her. Mira screamed and spun around, but the door had vanished, where the exit should have been. There was only wall. She stumbled backward, her chest heaving. The house had swallowed her. She was inside now, and the house had no intention of letting her go.
The air inside was colder than outside. Her breath fogged in front of her, drifting upward like smoke. The hallway stretched too far, longer than it should have been. The wallpaper peeled in strips, exposing black wood beneath that seemed to pulse faintly, as though it had veins.
Myra's shoes clicked against the warped floorboards.
Each step echoed, though the space around her was smothered in thick silence. Her phone had no signal.
The screen flickered, then died completely, as though drained of power.
The house wanted her blind. The whispering followed. No, it surrounded her. Faint voices crawling across the walls, slipping beneath the floorboards, coiling down from the ceiling. She's here. The Bloodline. She doesn't remember. Mira froze. Her throat tightened.
she demanded, but her voice was swallowed instantly. The whispers hissed with laughter. A sudden creak.
Her head snapped up. At the end of the hallway, the faint glow of that same candlelight flickered. It came from a room with the door slightly open. Just a sliver enough to show movement. A shadow. Her stomach twisted. Her body screamed to run, but her legs moved forward, step by slow step. The whispers grew louder with each pace. Closer.
Closer now.
See what waits. The door creaked wider. A draft carried out the stench of something rotted. And then...
The candle blew out. Darkness consumed everything.
Mira gasped, stumbling backward. The house groaned. The walls trembled like a breath being held. And then... a sound. Not whispering. Not creaking. Footsteps. They were not hers. Slow. Heavy. Dragging against the floorboards. Coming closer, Mira backed away, her heel catching on the warped wood. Her arms flailed for balance. Her fingers brushed something hanging from the wall. A picture frame. She grabbed it, lifted it, and when she saw the photo, her blood ran cold. It was air. A face, standing with a family she had never seen before. Dressed in clothing decades out of time. Her smile in the photo was wide. Too wide. And the others in the picture.
Their eyes had been scratched out.
The footsteps stopped. Silence. Mira's chest heaved. Her pulse thundered in her ears. Slowly, she lowered the frame and saw him. A man stood at the end of the hallway. Tall. Thin. His skin was gray, stretched too tightly over bones that seemed ready to split through. He wore an old suit, torn at the seams, dripping wet as though he had just climbed out of water. And his eyes were hollow pits, black and endless. He lifted a shaking hand, pointed at her. His mouth opened, but no sound came. Only a flood of whispers poured from his throat, hundreds of voices speaking at once. Mira screamed. Se volteó.
Her footsteps thundered as she sprinted down another hall. The corridor twisted, bent, stretched impossibly long. Every door she passed slammed shut on its own. Dust fell from the ceiling like ash. The whispers chased her. The man's steps dragged after her. And then, a staircase. She stumbled upward, desperate, clutching the rail. The steps groaned beneath her weight. The wood splintered. Something grabbed her ankle. She shrieked, kicking free, climbing faster until she reached the landing. Then a door, half open, glowing faintly with candlelight once more. Her only chance. She shoved it open and slammed it behind her. The room was small, circular. Dozens of candles burned on the floor, their wax pooled into thick, fleshy lumps. Symbols were carved into the walls, jagged bleeding, still wet. And at the center, a book, ancient, bound in something that looked far too much like skin. Mira's hands trembled as she reached for it. Her fingers hovered above the cover. The whispers hushed. The house fell silent. The book seemed to breathe. She swallowed hard and opened the Italiano. Her footsteps thundered as she sprinted down another hall. The corridor twisted, bent, stretched impossibly long. Every door she passed slammed shut on its own. Dust fell from the ceiling like ash. The whispers chased her. The man's steps dragged after her. And then, a staircase. She stumbled upward, desperate, clutching the rail. The steps groaned beneath her weight. The wood splintered. Something grabbed her ankle. She shrieked, kicking free, climbing faster until she reached the landing. Then a door, half open, glowing faintly with candlelight once more. Her only chance. She shoved it open and slammed it behind her. The room was small, circular. Dozens of candles burned on the floor, their wax pooled into thick, fleshy lumps. Symbols were carved into the walls, jagged bleeding, still wet. And at the center, a book, ancient, bound in something that looked far too much like skin. Mira's hands trembled as she reached for it. Her fingers hovered above the cover. The whispers hushed. The house fell silent. The book seemed to breathe. She swallowed hard and opened the Italiano. The face smiled at her. Her own face, rotting with skin, sloughing off like wax. Teeth too long, too sharp, dripping with thick black fluid. Mira. It hissed again, the sound dragging across the walls. You've come back, just as you always do. Her chest heaved. No, I've never been here before. The routing reflection tilted its head. Its smile widened, tearing the corners of its cheeks. Blood streamed down, thick and hot, splattering into the rising pool at their feet. Don't you remember? It whispered. You were born here, fed here, buried here. Mira stumbled backward, her boots sloshing in the blood. I'm not part of this, she screamed. I'm not part of you. The voice laughed. A chorus joined in, erupting from the walls, from the portraits, from the floorboards. The house itself laughed. Then why? Do you dream of us every night? The darkness collapsed. The floor gave way. Mira plummeted. Her scream tore through the void, but no echo returned. Only silence. Only the feeling of falling forever. Until her body slammed against stone. She groaned, coughing blood, her vision blurred. When her eyes adjusted, she realized where she was. A basement. But not like any basement she'd ever seen. The ceiling stretched high above, cathedral-like. The walls glistened wet, as though breathing. Chains hung from hooks, dripping with rust and something darker. And the smell, sweet, rotting, like corpses stacked beneath the earth. At the far end of the chamber stood an altar, carved from black stone, its surface etched with runes that pulsed faintly, beating in rhythm with her heart. Upon it lay bones. Dozens, hundreds, some child-sized, some too large to be human. And above the altar, scrawled across the wall in thick strokes of blood, the house that waits. Mira staggered forward, her legs trembling. Her eyes darted wildly, searching for escape. But there were no doors, only the altar. Only the whispers growing louder. She's here. She's ready. She will finish what we began. Her hands shook as she touched the stone. A flash burned through her skull. Visions. Children screaming. A family dragged into the basement. Nails scratching against the stone as they were pulled. Her own face smiling standing. Over them, chanting words she didn't understand. Mira reeled back, clutching her head. No, that wasn't me. That wasn't me. But deep inside. A part of her knew it was. The stone altar split down the middle. From the crack, black liquid bubbled upward, spilling over the sides like oil. It smelled of death. It hissed like boiling flesh. The liquid shaped itself, rising, forming a body. Long arms, a hunched frame, a head crowned with jagged bone. It towered over her, dripping, faceless, except for its mouth, a wide, gaping maw filled with rows of teeth. The creature leaned down, its voice thundered inside her skull, vibrating every bone. Daughter! Mira's body froze, her blood iced. No? She whispered. No, I'm not sure. The creature's teeth clicked shut, silencing her. You are ours, it growled. You always return. The house is not a place. It is you. It is your flesh, your blood, your destiny. The chains on the walls rattled violently. Something unseen yanked them taut, as though dozens of bodies still hung from them, thrashing. The altar pulsed, the runes glowed brighter. And suddenly, hands burst from the floor, rotting. Skeletal hands clawed at her ankles, pulling her down. She screamed, kicking, but more erupted, grabbing her arms, her legs, her waist. They dragged her onto the altar. Her body slammed against the cold stone. Chains slithered around her wrists, tightening until bone cracked. She cried out, writhing, but the chains only pulled tighter. The creature loomed above her. Its maw opened wide, and from within came a storm of voices, screaming in unison. "You belong to the house." The creature leaned down. Its voice thundered inside her skull, vibrating every bone. "Daughter!" Mira's body froze, her blood iced. "No?" she whispered. "No, I'm not sure." The creature's teeth clicked shut, silencing her. "You are ours," it growled. "You always return. The house is not a place. It is you. It is your flesh, your blood, your destiny." The chains on the walls rattled violently. Something unseen yanked them taut, as though dozens of bodies still hung from them, thrashing. The altar pulsed, the runes glowed brighter. And suddenly, hands burst from the floor, rotting. Skeletal hands clawed at her ankles, pulling her down. She screamed, kicking, but more erupted, grabbing her arms, her legs, her waist. They dragged her onto the altar. Her body slammed against the cold stone. Chains slithered around her wrists, tightening until bone cracked. She cried out, writhing, but the chains only pulled tighter. The creature loomed above her. Its maw opened wide, and from within came a storm of voices, screaming in unison. "You belong to the house." Her voice was not hers when she spoke. It was hundreds, thousands, layered together, echoing through the chamber. Words that burned her tongue. Words that were older than the house itself. The runes flared. The walls shook. The ceiling cracked. The house screamed. The creature lunged, its claws slicing the air. And Mira plunged her hands into the book. Not the pages. Through Italiano, into Italiano. Her arms vanished inside the writhing flesh of the binding, and the book pulled her in. The chamber collapsed. The altar split to dust. The chains snapped, corpses crashing to the floor in silence. The creature shrieked, its body unraveling into smoke, sucked screaming into the pages. The house trembled. It bled. It died. And then, silence. Mira opened her eyes. She was standing in the middle of a field. Her car was there, parked, intact. The night was calm, the fog gone. The house nowhere in sight. Her body shook as she stumbled toward the car. Her blood-soaked clothes clung to her skin. She opened the door, collapsing into the driver's seat, gasping, sobbing. It was over. It had to be over. She shoved the keys into the ignition. The engine roared to life. Her trembling hand reached for the gear shift and froze. The book sat on the passenger seat. Closed. Silent. Waiting. Mira's scream tore through the night. The car's headlights flickered, and far in the distance, on the horizon where no house should stand, windows glowed. One by one, as the house waited,